Imagine waking up to strangers calling you nonstop, demanding you pay a $15,000 debt that isn't even yours, and then finding out it was your own parents who gave them your number. Not just gave it, they told them you'd cover it. I didn't sign up for this, but they made me the scapegoat. So I did what no one expected. I pushed back. And what came next left them completely speechless. My parents gave debt collectors my contact info, phone number, full address, everything, and flat out lied, saying I was the one covering my brother's giant loan. They basically sicked strangers on me over a debt I didn't even owe. So I made sure they'd regret ever dragging me into this mess. What I did left them completely stunned, speechless. I don't know if this is going to come across as insane as it felt living through it, but here goes. Maybe someone out there has advice, or maybe you just want to see how it all plays out. Honestly, never thought I'd be sharing something like this, but I'm way past the point of just brushing it off. And if my family ends up seeing this, so be it. They brought this on themselves. I live in a pretty regular apartment. Nothing fancy. I'm not super tight with my family. I visit every couple of weeks, mostly when I can't really get out of it. I'm not the type who checks in all the time. I don't call my mom every day or anything like that, but it's not like we're estranged, just regular family dynamics, you know? Anyway, about a month ago, the phone calls started. Not spam, not some warranty robocalls. Actual people, real voices on the other end. Then came the texts. Same vibe, different numbers, all unfamiliar. Messages like, hey, we need to talk about this debt. Call us back. That sort of thing. At first, I assumed it was just a mix-up. Maybe someone typed the wrong number. Happens all the time, right? So I blocked a few numbers, ignored the rest. Just background noise. I had real-life stuff to focus on. But the calls didn't stop. They actually started ramping up. Then came the letter. Real, physical mail. Not addressed to resident or anything. It had my full name, my exact address. Everything correct. That's when it stopped feeling like a random mistake. I've never taken out a huge loan. I'm careful with money. I barely even use credit. I've got like 2 subscriptions and that's it. So I start wondering, did someone steal my info? But I check my credit report. It's clean. No red flags. Nothing suspicious. Then it got weird. I went over to my parents' place for dinner. My brother Ethan, he's 2 years older, the golden child, always chasing some big business idea, always on the brink of his comeback, was acting super off. He's usually not that talkative with me, but this time he wouldn't even make eye contact. He just sat there glued to his phone. Meanwhile, my mom kept piling food on my plate and talking about how family's supposed to help each other out, how sometimes you need to step up when someone's struggling. I shrugged it off. She's always laying on the guilt about something. But the next day, I get another call. This one? Way more aggressive. The guy says he's from a collections agency. I won't name it, but I checked. It's legit. He tells me if I don't call back or pay up, they're going to escalate things. So I'm done playing nice. I call him back. I ask straight up, what is this even about? And he goes, you're listed as the responsible contact for Ethan Brooks. Loan ending and blah, blah. Balance over 15 grand. I tell him, that's not my debt. He says, well, your parents gave us your info. They said you're the one taking care of it, that you're backing your brother. So unless you cooperate, we'll keep reaching out. And I'm thinking, there's no way. My parents wouldn't actually do that. Sure, they've always been overly invested in Ethan's potential, and I'm the one who gets roped into helping them with errands, tech stuff, whatever. But giving out my personal info, telling debt collectors I'm the one covering for him, that's another level. I text Ethan. He leaves me on red. I try again. Still nothing. I reach out to my mom. She sends back some weak response like, you're overreacting. It's not that serious. Just help your brother. Because of course, he's going through a hard time. So I decide to go over there. No heads up. Just show up. Ethan won't even come out of his room. My dad's on the couch watching TV like everything's perfectly normal. My mom's in the kitchen, pretending she's cleaning, but clearly waiting for me to say something. So I do. I ask her straight up, Did you give those people my number and address? She sighs and says, they kept calling and I couldn't handle it. I thought you'd know what to do. I ask if she told them I was responsible for the loan. She just stares at me and says, well, you always figure these things out, and Ethan needs time to get on his feet. She says maybe if I talk to them, I can work something out, or at least buy him a little time. At that point, my voice starts rising. Not full yelling, but I'm definitely fired up. I tell her, you do realize they're harassing me, right? This isn't my debt. And she goes, well, family helps family. I tell her I'm not doing it. I'm not bailing him out. Not this time. Not ever. And she just shrugs like I'm the disappointment for not being the bigger person. Finally, my dad gets off the couch and says, this isn't the time. You're making a scene. And then my dad tells me to calm down, like I'm the one being unreasonable. I fire back, you gave my personal info to total strangers, and now they're after me for something I never even agreed to. That's when Ethan finally comes out of hiding, only because he heard the raised voices. He's got that look like he'd give anything to teleport out of the room. He mutters something like, it's not that serious. They just want someone to talk to. And I say, then you talk to them. Why the hell am I the one handling this? He shrugs and says they don't want to talk. They just want money. And here comes my mom, chiming in like always. Your brother just needs a bit of help. You're the only one who can actually do something. Please, just this once, she pleads. I laugh. Not because it's funny, but because it's so absurdly familiar. I tell them, this isn't going away, but I'm not cleaning up this mess. Not this time. I'm not talking to those collectors anymore. And if they keep harassing me, that's on you. My mom slams a cabinet like I've just cursed out the Pope. My dad sinks back into the couch and cranks up the TV volume like that's going to erase the problem. Ethan tries to sneak out of the room. I step in front of him and ask him point blank, did you tell them I was paying off your loan? He just gives me this little shrug, like I'm somehow the villain for even bringing it up. I push past him, not hard, but enough to make it clear I'm done being the family's punching bag. I walk out and slam the door behind me. Not for drama, just because I couldn't stand to look at any of them for another second. Driving home, my mind's racing. How did we even end up here? Like, sure, Ethan's always been their favorite, the big dreamer, the one they believe in no matter how many times he screws up. And I've always been the dependable one, the guy who pays his bills and doesn't ask for handouts. But handing out my address and phone number, telling strangers I'm responsible for $15,000 in debt, just because I'm the one who keeps it together? I pull into my place, check my phone. 3 missed calls from the debt agency. 2 new texts from my mom saying I need to think about what I'm doing to the family. Some people might say, just block them. Move on. But it's not that easy. My parents don't quit. They'll find a way to twist this around, to dump the responsibility back on me. Because I'm the one who always handles everything. But not anymore. This time, I'm done letting them walk all over me. I'm not going to just ignore the calls and hope it fades away. If they want to make me the villain in this story, fine. I'll show them exactly what happens when the reliable one stops playing along. I've got something planned. Next time I show up at their place, they won't know what hit them. Part 2's on the way, if anyone's still following along. Because this is just the beginning. All right, here's an update. Since a bunch of people DM'd or commented, here's what actually happened after that dinner from hell. Honestly, I don't even care if anyone wanted an update. I just need to get this out. Everyone in my actual life keeps saying, it's a family issue, let it go. But no, not this time. After that night, I basically cut contact for a few days. Didn't block them or anything, because I wanted to keep tabs. I know how my mom works. If she thinks you're ignoring her, she'll push even harder just to get a reaction. And I wasn't giving her that satisfaction. The collectors kept calling, but now it wasn't just my phone. Somehow they got my email. Then my landlord texts me, says some random guy came by asking for me. Said he was following up on a family debt. I was mortified and furious, because I knew exactly who gave them my address. My mom. Probably my dad too, even if he pretends he's just a bystander. So I go back to their house. Daytime this time. No heads up. I don't even bother ringing the bell. Just walk right in through the back. like always. They never lock it. Classic suburban laziness. My mom's at the kitchen table, scrolling through her iPad. My dad's in the garage messing with the water heater, which, by the way, has never worked right in 20 years. Neither of them even acts surprised to see me. I ask my mom directly, "Did you give them my address?" She says, totally unfazed, "It's not a big deal. They just needed a way to contact you. It's better than them calling us nonstop." I tell her, "No, it's not better. It's 10 times worse. You put a target on my back." And she says, "If you just deal with it, they'd stop." That's what always gets me. She genuinely believes I exist to fix everything. Like Ethan's the perpetual disaster, so obviously I have to be the cleanup crew. Then my dad chimes in with, "Just pay a little each month to get them off your back. Ethan will pay you back eventually." I laugh in his face. When has he ever paid anyone back? My dad just shrugs and disappears back into the garage like that's the end of it. My mom starts in about how I should show some compassion. I tell her straight, compassion isn't giving strangers my private info and telling them I owe their money. I'd had enough. I just left. Didn't even bother slamming the door this time. I wanted them to know I wasn't angry. I was finished. I get home, triple check everything. Bank accounts, credit reports, emails, socials. Nothing looks compromised. But I change all my passwords anyway. And then it hits me. If they can use me as their human shield, then maybe I can make their lives just as difficult. I'm not doing anything illegal, but I'm done helping them with anything. No more tech support, no more, "Can you help us pay this bill?" No more, "Can you call Aunt Diane? She's upset about something." Nothing. I'm out. I start with the small stuff. My mom texts me saying her phone won't turn on. I ignore it. She texts again, then again. Finally, she calls. I let it ring. Then the collectors start blowing up my work phone. I won't say exactly how they got the number, but if you've ever seen my email signature, it's not rocket science. Now I'm getting these calls in the middle of meetings. Eventually, my manager pulls me aside, asks if everything's all right. Apparently, someone's been calling nonstop and saying it's urgent. Now I'm actually stressed, because if this keeps happening, I could get written up or even lose my job. So I text my mom. I tell her straight, "If this mess puts my career at risk, I'm cutting ties with all of you." She calls me dramatic and says I'm being cruel to Ethan. At that point, I give in and call my brother, just to see if he'll answer. He does barely, mumbles something that barely qualifies as a greeting. I ask, "Why can't you just own your screw-up?" He says, "You wouldn't understand. You've always had it easy. Everyone expects me to fail, so why even bother trying?" I say, "You're not even trying. You're just hiding. First behind mom and dad, now behind me." He hangs up, so I decide, fine, let's make this uncomfortable for everyone. No laws broken, just smart, calculated pettiness. First move? I text Aunt Diane, my mom's older sister. She's never been a fan of how my parents baby Ethan. I lay out everything that's happened. No drama, no exaggeration, just facts. She's furious, says she's not shocked, but also says she's bringing it up at the next family get-together. And I know that's going to light my mom up. Good. Let her squirm a bit. Next, I start returning their mail. Any envelope that shows up at my place with Ethan's name or my parents' names on it, marked return to sender. Let them handle their own stuff for once. Then I cancel the family Spotify. Let them figure out how to play music like the rest of the world. It's small, yeah, but it's a start. The real moment, my mom calls again. I finally pick up, curious what she'll say. She's nearly in tears, says the Wi-Fi isn't working and her iPad won't connect, and she needs it for her book club. I say, "Sorry, you'll have to find someone else. I'm not available anymore." She snaps, "So you're punishing us just because we tried to help your brother?" I say, "Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing." Click. She slams the phone down. Few days pass, then my dad calls, says the water heater's busted again, asks if I can come take a look. I tell him I'm busy. He just sighs, "Well, I guess we'll manage." And for the first time, he actually sounds unsure, like he doesn't know what to do without me. For half a second, I almost feel bad. Then I remember my landlord texting me about strangers knocking on my door, and that pity disappears real quick. The next week is pure chaos. Ethan starts texting me out of nowhere, begs me to talk to the collectors. Just one time. Says he's desperate. I reply, "You got yourself into this. You can figure out how to get yourself out." He sends me this huge rant, says I've always acted like I'm better than him, claims I'm mom's favorite now, which is laughable, says I don't know what it's like being in his shoes. I don't even respond. I'm exhausted from all the guilt trips. Then my mom tries one last card. Sunday dinner. Says the family misses me. Says she'll make my favorite dish, which she actually gets wrong, by the way. I say, not coming. Not until you clean this mess up. She hits me with, "You're tearing this family apart." I say, "You did that when you gave out my personal info." Click. She hangs up. Again. And this time I hear a door slam in the background. So yeah, I'm officially on the outs. My own parents are acting like I'm the villain, like I'm the one who blew everything up, just because I won't mop up Ethan's mess. But now they're stuck. They can't ask me for help, can't guilt trip me into fixing everything like before, and the rest of the family is starting to notice. Aunt Diane corners my mom at church and asks what's going on. My mom just shrugs and says, "Oh, Miles is going through something." Yeah, I'm going through being fed up with everyone's crap, and now I start looking for more ways to make things uncomfortable. Again, nothing illegal, just annoying, because I know all the little things that make that household function. I've been the one doing it for the past decade. Setting up bill reminders, troubleshooting the router, calling the plumber, scheduling maintenance, all of it. So now I stop reminding them. No more, "Hey, did you pay the trash bill?" No more, "Don't forget Uncle Joel's birthday." I let them forget. Let it all slip. And I'm waiting, watching, because I know it's going to catch up with them. Then last night, I get another call from my dad. But this time he's angry. No more helpless tone. Now he's pissed. He says, "You're really going to let your mother deal with all this on her own?" I tell him, "You both created this mess." He tells me, "If you can't step up, then you're not part of this family." And I just say, "You already made that decision the moment you handed out my private info like it meant nothing." He hangs up on me, and a second later, I hear the front door slam. So yeah, I guess this is what it feels like when you stop being the family doormat. And I'm not even close to finished. If they want to see what happens when I stop going along with their nonsense, I've got plenty more ways to make an impact. And this time, I'm going straight for what really matters to them. The stuff they can't fix with a phone call or some half-baked guilt trip. If anyone's got suggestions, I'm open. All right, here's the next chapter in this dumpster fire of a family saga. Honestly, my life is starting to feel like the pilot episode of a low-budget reality show. But hey, real life is messier. So yeah, cutting off the little conveniences was a start. I stopped fixing their Wi-Fi, canceled the shared Spotify, that kind of petty stuff. But it didn't feel like enough. They were annoyed, sure, but they'd work around it eventually. I needed to go deeper, hit them where it actually hurts, financially, socially, emotionally. If they wanted to turn me into the bad guy, I was going to make it worth it. First weird flag, my mom starts texting me at 7 a.m. on a Monday. She knows I hate mornings. She's asking about a missed water bill payment, wondering if I got the notice too. Newsflash, I haven't been listed on that account for over a year. But of course, she just assumed I'd still be keeping track of it. I ignore the message. She follows up with another text. The trash didn't get picked up, and now the bins are overflowing. Then my dad calls and leaves a voicemail saying the car insurance is late and wants to know if I changed anything. I didn't touch a thing. They just aren't paying attention. Because I used to be the one who remembered all this stuff for them. Now everything's starting to slip through the cracks. Meanwhile, I quietly start a group chat with some of the extended family, aunts, cousins, just casual stuff. But I sprinkle in a few not-so-subtle hints about how stressed I've been lately, how random people keep calling and showing up. I don't spill all the tea, but I say enough for Aunt Diane to catch on. She starts asking questions. Next thing I know, I hear from my cousin that Aunt Diane called my mom and things blew up. Apparently, it turned into a shouting match. My mom's furious, saying I'm airing family business and being vindictive, which to be honest just means it's working. So I take it a step further. The following Sunday, I show up at their house without warning. Walk right in. My mom's on her iPad. My dad's buried in the paper. No sign of Ethan. I sit down and say, let's talk about the debt. Their faces drop like I just dropped a bomb. My dad says, we've already gone over this. Nothing left to say. My mom puts on her wounded act, says she can't sleep, that she's worried the family is falling apart. I tell them straight, I'm not paying a dime. I'm done fixing your messes. You're on your own now. She accuses me of being heartless. I say, no, I'm just giving you back exactly what you gave me. She slams her hand on the table, says I'm tearing the family apart over nothing. And I shoot back, oh, like when you handed my personal info to debt collectors for a loan I never took out? She looks away. My dad finally speaks up. If you're going to act like this, you're not welcome here. I stand up. Fine, but don't think for a second that this is over. And I slam the front door on my way out. So here's what I do next. I start thinking about all the behind-the-scenes things I used to do for them, the stuff they never even noticed. I'd set up all their online accounts, put bills on auto pay, even did their taxes a few times because they were too lazy to figure it out. I never gave myself full access. I'm not an idiot. I wasn't about to take responsibility for their finances, but I do remember all their login info. I go in, log out of everything, remove my phone number as the backup, erase saved passwords off every device I've ever helped them with. Then I update recovery settings so they go only to their own email, the one they barely check. Suddenly, none of their saved passwords work. Nothing connects. They're locked out. Not illegal, just enforcing boundaries. Soon enough, word gets back to me. They're panicking. Utilities are getting shut off. Late fees are stacking up. Ethan posts one of those vague, passive-aggressive Facebook statuses about how families should be there for each other, which is hilarious because he blocked me, but a friend screenshots it and sends it over. I forward it to Aunt Diane with a shrug emoji. Then I start talking to my grandma, my dad's mom. She's old school, hates conflict, but I just tell her gently, I can't come visit right now. Things are too chaotic with my parents, and they dumped all their financial problems onto me. She says she's going to have a word with my dad. Sure enough, the next week my dad texts me, why'd you have to involve grandma? Now she's upset. I reply, maybe if you handled your own mess, I wouldn't have to. The debt collectors are still calling, but now I've managed to reroute most of the calls to them instead of me. I went through their old emails, the ones they never bothered to clean, and updated the callback settings to redirect everything back to their landline. Nothing shady, just using what was already sitting in plain sight. Now it's my mom who's getting 5 calls a day. Let her enjoy that for a while. Then Ethan tries to pull a new stunt. He texts me, says if I don't help him, he'll tell everyone I'm abusive. I say, go ahead. I've got every message saved, and I'll drop screenshots in the family group chat before you even finish your sentence. He backs off fast. Then he texts again, you're ruining my life. I say, that's not my problem. Later, my mom sends a text saying, I'm punishing the whole family for something Ethan did. I reply, no, you all made me the target, not just him. And to be clear that I'm not playing favorites, I stopped doing stuff for grandma too. Not out of spite, just to show that I'm not available to anyone until this mess is dealt with. She asks if I can come fix her TV. I tell her gently, not right now, not until things get resolved. She's annoyed, yeah, but she gets it. The best part? My cousin lets me know the extended family group chat has exploded. Apparently, everyone's talking. No one can believe what my parents pulled. Even the relatives who usually take their side are shocked. My mom tries to control the narrative, says I'm making it sound worse than it is, but Aunt Diane shuts it down fast. No, Miles showed me the proof. Now my parents are getting called out by their own family, and not in private. I finally go to a family lunch, first time in weeks, and the atmosphere is icy. No one speaks to my parents. They just sit there barely touching their food. Ethan doesn't even show. Aunt Diane gives me a pat on the back and says, you did the right thing. Sometimes people need consequences. And for once, I feel like someone actually gets it. Like I'm not crazy. When I get home, there's a voicemail from my mom. She says, "Okay, you've made your point. Can we just go back to normal now?" I don't respond because normal is what got us into this mess in the first place. Now the bills are piling up, collectors won't stop calling, and the entire family knows what my parents did. Ethan's out of excuses. And for the first time, I'm not the one under pressure. They are. But I'm not done. Not yet. Because every time they try to dodge the consequences, I'm going to make sure they feel it. They wanted to play games? Fine. I can play harder. All right. Here's how everything shook out. Can't say I'm proud of how ugly it got, but I'm also not sorry. People love to act shocked when the one person who always takes it finally fights back. If you've read this far, you know this was never just about money. My parents chose a side. They threw me under the bus. Ethan watched it happen and didn't say a word. If they wanted drama, I was done holding back. After that last family lunch, things got weirdly quiet. No calls, no texts. Even the debt collectors went silent for a couple of days. Then my cousin tells me my mom bailed out of the family group chat, said she felt attacked. My dad's telling people I exaggerated the whole thing. Ethan's back on social media posting vague family is everything quotes, which is hilarious because he only ever posts when he wants pity or cash. But I start seeing signs they're still scheming. My mom tries to get a message to me through my old roommate. She even asks Aunt Diane to talk some sense into me. Then I get this random DM from a cousin I barely know saying, "Can't you just forgive and move on?" So yeah, they were rallying the troops. But I wasn't backing down. That's when I decided, no more Mr. Nice Guy. I knew their anniversary was coming up, their big yearly backyard bash where the whole family gathers. They'd already sent invites, hyped it up in the family thread, all that. Every year, I'm the one who handles everything. The setup, music, grilling, the tech, the cleanup. This time, radio silence. I RSVP'd maybe and ignored every message after that. Week before the party, my dad calls. Starts off all cheerful, then flips when I stay cold. Says everyone's expecting you. Don't make your mother worry. I tell him, I'm not lifting a finger until you fix what you did. He hangs up. 2 days later, my mom calls in tears. Says the whole party's falling apart. Asks if I can at least bring the speakers, maybe help with the playlist. I say, not my circus. She switches gears. You're a grown man, act like it. And I say, exactly, which is why I'm not letting you treat me like your personal ATM click. End of call. The day of the party, my phone lights up with texts. Where are you? Are you coming? I just reply, ask my parents. Then my cousin FaceTimes me from the party. The grill's broken. The music is playing from someone's phone. Chairs are still stacked, and everyone's whispering about the debt situation. My dad's pacing around, pissed. My mom's crying in the kitchen. Ethan's MIA. I sit on my couch eating takeout, watching the whole thing unfold like a live stream meltdown. And after that, my parents stop pretending. My dad leaves me a voicemail. This is out of control. You've humiliated us. You're acting like a child. I don't call back. This is where I turn the screws. I know every weak point in their system. My dad never checks his own mail. I used to gather their bills, sort them, and keep everything in order. Because if I didn't, something always slipped through. So now, I don't touch a thing. I also used to remind him when the car registration was due, and even renewed it online for him. This year, not a word. Then I took it a step further. I unsubscribed from every single auto reminder I'd set up for them. Utilities, insurance, registration, all of it. I didn't mess with any accounts. I just stopped helping. And sure enough, it didn't take long for reality to hit. Within a month, my aunt told me their water got shut off for a whole day. Apparently, my mom called her in tears, totally overwhelmed. My dad's car got slapped with a ticket for expired tags. They missed the trash pickup after the holiday because they forgot the schedule, and the garbage piled up outside. One morning, my mom calls me furious. "You're doing this on purpose," she shouts. I just say, "I'm living my own life, exactly like you told me to." Then for the final touch, I made sure Ethan couldn't hide behind me anymore. Next time a collector called, I said flat out, "This is the only number you need." And I updated my voicemail. If you're calling about Ethan's debt, contact his parents. If you're family, leave a message. Any debt email I received, forwarded it straight to my mom, and CC'd my dad. Every single one. No filter, no buffer. If I got a text from a collection agency, I forwarded that too. No explanation, just full transparency. They started feeling the heat directly. No more middleman, no more shielding. Family gatherings turned tense. My parents stopped going to anything that wasn't church-related. When they did show up, people kept bringing up the whole situation. At one barbecue, Aunt Diane finally snapped. Called my mom out right in front of everyone. "Why would you throw Miles into that mess?" My mom didn't even respond. She just stood up and walked off. My dad followed her, didn't say a word, just slammed the car door behind him. Later that night, my grandma called. She didn't ask me to come by or try to fix anything. She just said, "I wish things were different, but I understand." Everyone's talking about it, and honestly, people are tired of the excuses. Meanwhile, Ethan started texting me again. "You got what you wanted. Everyone's mad at mom and dad. Just stop now, please." I left him on red. Then came the guilt trip. "You're still the favorite. You always win. Just help me this one time." I replied, "You need to stop blaming me for your own screw-ups." Then came the final act. My mom showed up at my apartment, unannounced, banging on my front door like she was ready for war. I opened it. She started crying immediately. "You ruined everything," she sobbed. "We were just trying to help Ethan. You could have made it easier for all of us." And I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You let strangers harass me. You lied to people. You treated me like a fallback plan. The only thing I regret is not standing up for myself sooner." She slapped me on the arm. Not hard, but enough to make her point. I didn't move. I just stood there, and she turned and left, slammed the door behind her. Now, no more debt collector calls. Everything goes straight to them. The extended family doesn't trust them anymore. Ethan's completely out of excuses. My parents are scrambling to fix all the little things I used to quietly hold together, and they're failing at it, publicly. They can't guilt me, can't use me. And everyone sees the truth now. I know some people will say I went too far, but honestly, I don't care. You burn me like that, you get burned back. I'm not stepping in to patch things up. Not now, not ever. They had their shot. I'm done being the safety net. So yeah, this is what happens when you try to make me the scapegoat. No redemption arc here, no gentle wrap-up. They wanted to find out what I'd do when I finally snapped. Now they know.